Our first guest of the day via the Deseret First Credit Union hotline is former major leaguer, former BYU baseball coach, Vance Law, and a former Chicago Cub who is currently in Arizona watching players in fall ball. Vance, welcome to BYU Sports Nation.
Thank you very much.
What was your reaction last night watching the Cubs, one of your former teams, make the final out to win the World Series for the first time in over a century?
Well, it was kind of stunning, actually, to think how that game transpired, because I thought after they gave up the lead when Davis hit the 2-run home run in the bottom of the 8th inning, I didn't think they would be able to come back from that. That'd be pretty deflating when you only have 4 outs left in the game to be world champions, and then all of a sudden that happens. And I thought that was going to propel the Indians over the top, but the rain delay, I think, kind of slowed the momentum down, and I think, according to what we heard, that Jason Hayward pulled their club together in the weight room and had a little players meeting that turned things back around for them.
Having played for the Cubs, what does this mean to you?
Well, I only wish it would have happened about 30 years ago when we were in the playoffs in '89, but it was I'm happy for the fans. There's so many people that follow the Cubs. When I played there, didn't matter what stadium you went to, and it was kind of shown last night. The Cub fans come out in force, and we would go to San Diego or Houston, have more fans than the Padres or the Astros. And last night it sounded like it was almost 50-50 in the stadium. So they follow, and they've just been wanting to have a World Series champion for a long, long time, and I'm pleased for the fans. I'm pleased for the players and the former players that have played there. There's always a soft spot in your heart for the Cubs. I work on the opposite side of town now with the White Sox, so I know we're going to hear a little bit about it, but it's still pretty thrilling, I think, to see that come to an end. And even back in Utah, there's a ton of people who follow the Cubs. Ever since I played there, I think all my nieces and nephews follow the Cubs, and that's their team now. So it's really an amazing thing to go 108 years and finally break that.
A 1988 All-Star in Major League Baseball for the Chicago Cubs, Vance Law, former BYU baseball coach as well, with us on BYU Sports Nation. When it comes to the curse of the Billy Goat, how much credence did you give to that as a player?
0. And I think the players today, they put 0 in it too. I think it was just a good story. Who in their right mind in the first place is going to bring a goat to a game and expect to get in? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So, we didn't think a thing about it, and I'm sure players from then on didn't either.
This has been years in the making, obviously 108, but what I mean by that is a few years ago, you started to see some of these young pieces come together. Theo Epstein got there, had a plan, said be patient. Normally when people say that, it doesn't work out. Theo Epstein did it with the Red Sox and now the Cubs. When did you think a title might be possible for the Cubs?
Honestly, it could happen at any time with any team. But he certainly, I can't discredit him, that's for sure. He's done it in 2 locations, brought young people, young players, and a philosophy together. I'm not a huge fan of the metrics, and that's my only disappointment. The whole thing is a guy who believes in the metrics stuff that goes on with, sometimes they leave the guys who can just play the game out. You look at a guy like Zobrist, and he's somebody that is my kind of player who's able to hit the ball, to execute, move runners, score runners from third. And I don't think you can win a game. I don't think you can win games just based on exit velocity coming off the bat or the spin rate of a baseball coming in from a pitcher. There's heart, there's soul, there's David Ross, who can't do a thing anymore except he comes up with a big home run, and he can handle pitching staffs, and he's just solid. And you have to be able to have those kinds of players also to win along with that. I think there's a place for it in baseball, but you can't base your whole organization on that. And, it's starting to go that way. The Dodgers are doing it. There's a lot of clubs that do that now. And I just still think there's places for guys that can just play the game the right way and do what it takes to win ball games. So, look at Kyle Hendricks. He's the perfect example of a guy who it doesn't have an overpowering fastball, but can change speeds and locate and command his fastball, both sides of the plate, throw a changeup in a fastball count. Those kinds of things, can't be measured. And I just love to see guys like that succeed and have success.
Your son, Adam Law, has some intangibles as well in the game of baseball, and he sent out the following tweet last night. Before tonight, I had shed tears of joy following only one sporting event. After the ball game tonight, the Cubs winning, it's now happened twice. #sports. Your response to Adam tearing up when the Cubs won the World Series last night?
He is, I guess, ever since he's seen videos of me playing or just the fact of we've been to Wrigley Field, that he has followed the Cubs and secretly down inside, he's always loved the Cubs, even though he played for the Dodgers and he's currently with the Seattle Mariners organization. I hadn't seen his tweet yet, so I haven't been on Twitter yet. But I know how much he loves playing, or he loves playing the game. He loves the game, and he really loves the Cubs. And I think there's a lot of other people out there who, after last night's victory, shed a few tears as well.
I love the life lessons that came from this series and that game, too. When you think something's impossible, it's not. When you think, when the game is tied up in the 8th, you can still rally and come back and win. What did you take away from this series that's maybe bigger than sports?
Well, I think that's a great example right there, because they'd lost 2 out of 3 back at home, and where they were dominant all season long. And you would think that there's no way a team like the Cubs, or like the Indians, is going to lose 3 straight once they get back to, or lose 3 straight games, including 2 going back to Cleveland. But the Cubs never gave up, and they hung in there, and they battled. They showed that they were still in it the whole time, and dominated Game 6, and then came back and won last night. And I thought I think that's probably the thing you take away. And you also don't take away the intangibles of what a support system like the Cubs fans give to players. They never really ever give up on them. They get disgusted and discouraged with them at times, but and they did back in my playing days as well. But they were always there. They filled the ballpark every day and every night. It was a great place to play.
Vance Law, former Major League Baseball All-Star and former Chicago Cub, also a BYU baseball coach over 13 seasons. Vance, we appreciate the time. Great stuff. We wish you the best of luck with the Chicago White Sox, and enjoy your time in balmy Arizona.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been fun to be with you.
You got it. We'll do it again soon. Thanks, Vance.